Ambassador, thank you very much for taking time out of your schedule to sit down with us and do the interview. We'll start off with recent events first. You just returned from a trip to London with Željko Komšić and Rasulema Kavazovic. What was the purpose of that trip and what do you feel was accomplished?
Absolutely. The immediate hook for the visit was a commemoration service that was being held in Westminster Abbey for Lord Ashdowna. And Paddy is still very fondly remembered here in Bosnia and Herzegovina. But actually it was an event that really commemorated everything about his remarkable life. His time as a soldier, his time as a diplomat, leading a political party, his time as the High Representative here, and also the legacy he had left in the House of Lords. The presence, I think, of the chair of the presidency, Željko Komšić, and the Grand Mufti was a really strong signal about what he still means to people here in Bosnia and Herzegovina. One of the things that I really liked about the service was that it was one of Paddy's political opponents that gave the address. So John Major, former Prime Minister, one of 4 former Prime Ministers that was present at the service. And he spoke very warmly about the kind of person that Paddy was and the legacy that he left. Both President Komšić and the Grand Mufti had other programs as well, so they saw quite an interesting week in British politics up close. They got to hear firsthand about the continued commitment of the UK to Bosnia and Herzegovina, talk through some of those issues and ideas for where we go next.
Another recent event was the Pride Parade, which you are a pretty big vocal supporter of. Why is that?
Yeah, I think it was a really important moment actually. Bosnia and Herzegovina was the last country in the region, and I think perhaps even the last in Europe, to hold a Pride Parade. All of the organisers were from local organisations. They did a fantastic job. They worked very closely with the police, the cantonal police and police from across the Federation, and that made for an incident-free, really positive experience. So I was there on Sunday, along with a lot of other people from the British Embassy, from the British Council here, really just to add our personal support. But it was, I think, a statement about the kind of country that Bosnia is and the direction that it's going in. I think it showed that it's possible for people to have different views and to still accept and respect each other. And I think that's a good message for anyone who's thinking of coming to Bosnia and Herzegovina.
How do you respond to opponents of the parade, critics of the parade who say, oh, well, you know, we have so many other serious problems in the country. Why are we dedicating so much space to LGBTQI people?
It's worth saying, you know, those who had a different opinion were given the space to voice those views. There was a counter-protest organised the day before, and their voice is heard and they're entitled to speak up. I mean, as to why this is important, I think it's first of all worth saying that people from the LGBTIQ community here are not looking for special treatment. They're just looking for the same treatment as everyone else. And I think for too many of them, they experience discrimination, they experience sort of personal attacks and abuse, verbal and physical, in their daily lives. And this is about protecting their rights as individuals. And I think that's important for all of us. So it's not saying that this is the only issue that needs to be addressed, it's saying that this is important. And I think actually seeing that kind of mobilised popular support is something that should inspire us in other areas.
Why do you think there hasn't been some type of mobilisation, you know, against corruption, against some of the other problems?
I think that's a good question actually, and it's one that I still ask myself, because the kind of level of dissatisfaction that I hear about is quite significant in a lot of areas, and I think the rule of law is absolutely one of those. Economic opportunity not being fairly distributed. It's about people feeling that at times you need to have political party connections to get ahead. So the frustration, I think, is real. I think one of the reasons maybe we're not seeing that expressed so much publicly is because a lot of people are, frankly, voting with their feet. They're leaving. And I think that is also a big problem for this country. I think the more that people feel they need to take their talents and skills and experience elsewhere, the harder it's going to be to tackle those issues.